I'd like this to be the last meeting of the year.
Good luck with that.
Your poncho looks pretty.
What's that?
Your poncho looks pretty.
Yeah, I'm amazed it's held up as well as it has.
What do you put in that?
It's called Crystal Clear. It's a water treatment, and then you can get it with a blue dye. Makes it a blue-green color.
Doesn't kill a fish.
And it's clear, no. It's real clear, and yeah, you look down and you see, you know, a couple feet down in the water, it's real.
Is there anything in that besides blue dye?
Yeah, I got catfish, I got.
No, I mean in that treatment stuff, is there anything in there besides blue dye?
There's something that help with the algae
Oh, yeah.
and stuff, and it makes it really nice and clear, and it's supposed to be really good. And then you can add the blue dye, and the blue dye doesn't do anything. It's that turn hands blue and pouring it if you're not careful.
Put some blue dye in ours once in a while if we're gonna have company.
What's that?
I said, I put some of that blue dye in our pond whenever once in a while when we're gonna have company.
Yeah, it look nice.
It makes it look good.
That crystal clear stuff, that brand works really well. I've had the best luck with that. I used some other stuff one time that maybe lasted a week. I put this stuff in early October.
I don't do it real often because it takes 2 gallons on ours.
Takes what?
It takes 2 gallons for that.
Oh, yours?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Mine's
Yeah.
like half a gallon.
You must have a
It's
little
$40 a gallon too.
How much?
About 40.
Yeah, I think I've been paying a little more than 40.
Oh, really?
Where'd you get yours?
Porcelains.
I can check in with them.
Mm-hmm.
What boss is? Lance, you need to smile, buddy.
Let everybody's, oh, I said that was my worst fear, that we wouldn't have a quorum.
Well, good evening, everyone. The special quorum court is now called into session of Washington County. We have one order of business tonight. Before we get started, again, we want to start with prayer and pledge. I've asked J.P. Lemming. J.P. Lemming, will you lead us in prayer and pledge?
Let's all rise and bow our heads. Father, I just want to say thank you for the many blessings that you give each and every one of us each and every day. Father, be with us tonight as we conduct business for the county. Father, just be with all of our leaders, and we need all the prayer we can get, and heavenly prayer for the COVID victims across the United States of America. We ask all these things in your Son's name, Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, J.P. Lemming. Miss Patty, will you do the roll to see who we have in attendance tonight?
Susan Cunningham.
Here.
Patrick Dickens.
Here.
Sam Duncan. Lisa Ecke.
Here.
Ann Harbison.
Here.
Suki Hires.
Here.
Andrea Jenkins,
Here.
Lance Johnson,
Here.
Willie Lemming,
Present.
Eva Madison,
Here.
Sue Madison, Butch Pond,
Here.
Derek Thomas,
Here.
Shonda Washington, Chandra. I see she's here. Judith Yanez.
Here.
Judge, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Patty. This time we have item 3, the adoption of the agenda.
Move adoption of the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion to adopt the agenda. A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed? All right, the adoption of the agenda has occurred. Item 4 is preliminary motions.
I'd like to make her read all of the, read the ordinances, please.
All right, we have a motion, a preliminary motion to read ordinance by title only. A
Yes.
second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we have a motion, the preliminary motion passes. All right, citizen comments. We will go ahead and open the floor for citizen comments. Again, 15 minutes has been allocated. 3 minutes for each individual to come and share what's on their mind with the county. At that point, we'll ask that you state your name and where you're from, and then you go ahead and make your comments after you've been recognized. With that, citizen comments.
Judge, we have Sarah Moore.
Ms. Sarah Moore, go ahead. You've been recognized.
Hi, Sarah Moore, Fayetteville, Arkansas. I sent a note, and I don't know if folks have seen it before coming into the meeting, but in regard to the CARES money, I just really was hoping to urge the Quorum Court this evening to potentially look at a resolution to put some of those monies towards rental and housing assistance. Many in our community, and I'm being contacted daily by individuals, are looking for rent assistance, even though the CDC moratorium exists. There's lots of pressure being put on single moms, and there's a lot of concern about children that will be displaced and unsheltered with some of the cold weather months coming upon us very soon. There is talk there will be potentially other avenues that monies will come forward, but the area of Northwest Arkansas that we're in is estimated to need somewhere around $20 million. So every little bit is going to be important to help towards that. So I really urge all of our county elected leaders, please, to look at that as a focus and to put monies as soon as possible before the CDC moratorium ends, which is at the end of December, to take care of those very vulnerable people, especially our children. We want to protect them. Additionally, I wanted to talk in regard to the budget. I know on Thursday night, it didn't seem like we had made a tremendous amount of changes to the budget, and it looks like this is a very similar budget to what we talked about on Thursday night and here on Monday night tonight. And I'm curious about what has changed that would make us want to move forward to approve this budget if we're going to have discussions about additional changes. I've not heard a lot of conversation in all the budget meetings that I've attended, and I've attended them all, looking at individual details of budgets for departments. And so I have a lot of concern if we're going to be committed tonight to spend the time to really look through these budgets. In particular, the road budget was one of those that we had talked about, and whether or not we're going to fully vet these before we actually have approval. I understand that the year is coming upon us and there's pressure to get that done. And I think county employees deserve to have a holiday season. They're dealing with a pandemic as well as all of us, and have all that pressure. And I know all of us are stressed, and I don't want that hanging over their heads. We also have to be fiscally responsible and do the right thing. And I feel like this budget process has not been fully talked about. I feel like we've not gone through important line items to figure out a way to save money for taxpayers. And I'm very concerned about approving it as it stands today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Citizen comments.
Lou Sharp.
Ms. Lou Sharp, you recognized. Ms. Lou Sharp.
And I'm from Tiny Town, and I just encourage the court to
look at some creative solutions to help people facing eviction. Every day I'm delivering food boxes, and I'm working with a lady now that has faithfully paid her rent for the last 7 years, even though a nephew has helped her. She is 70 years old. She's been served notice of eviction. And if she's evicted based on her income and things like that, her only options, because and this is not unusual, she is not going to be able to afford assisted living or any other independent type of living. She's barely surviving on her income of $700 a month. And her choice is to go to a nursing home where the state will pay for all of her care. But that means she won't be going to the local hardware store or Aldi's to buy food. It means she won't be going and spending money in the community. And, we've got to look at creative solutions. She's lived very independently. I'm working with people in families in Willie Lemming's area of the woods, and some of those families are facing eviction, and their car blew up. Somebody got furloughed. They don't qualify for food stamps, or their paperwork got screwed up. They don't have food. They're barely surviving. And I just hope the county can come up with some creative things. If the kids get pulled out of the homes, then their care gets shifted to the state government. So I know the situation is really much worse than I ever imagined out in the counties. Well, the 70-year-old is in the middle of Fayetteville. So I hope we can keep people in their homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sharp.
Beth Coe.
Citizen comments. Ms. Beth Koger?
That's all I had to say.
Yes, thank you, Judge Wood. And I want to say
Thank you for listening.
Sarah and Lou also, I was going to say some of the things they've already said. So, but you know me, I do my research, and I have some statistics and data that I'd like to share to go along with what they just said. As we know, the Center for Disease Control's eviction moratorium ends in 10 days from today. There have been 354 eviction cases filed in Washington County from April through today, December 21st. And 48 of those have been filed just since December 1st. Many of our neighbors are in dire financial straits this year and unable to pay their rent. Sarah and I hear from these people almost every day. When this CDC moratorium ends in January, before cases even peak, we'll likely see many more evictions unless tenants receive some type of rental assistance. The $4.5 million in CARES Act money the county has received could help a lot of people. It couldn't help everyone, but it could go a long way. And I want to say that in paragraph 20 of the U.S. Treasury guidelines as to spending of the CARES money, it says CARES Act money may be used to prevent eviction and assist in preventing homelessness. Assuming that the recipient considers the grants to be a necessary expense incurred due to COVID-19 public health emergencies. So I'm pleading here with my county government that you use this CARES money to help people in Washington County pay their rent, to keep them from being homeless, and for people who are already homeless, that you help them find shelter. We just have to look out for our neighbors who are hurting, and we need to do all that we can. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Beth Koger. Citizen comments.
John Comstock.
Mr. John Comstock, you're recognized.
Thank you. Hey, as you folks know, I'm an attorney in Benton County, but I am doing just a tremendous amount of pro bono legal work representing tenants in both Benton and Washington County. I literally am going to have 2 more phone calls with folks yet this evening that are in Washington County that have been served with eviction notices. What we know is that the number of evictions filed in Arkansas are now have climbed back up to about the rate they were a year ago before the virus. They slowed down for a while, but they've been inching back up, and now they're back at the point where they were during normal times. And so what we know is what is going to happen in January and February, there is going to be an onslaught. And I'll tell you what I listen to when I interview these people, hardship is not a legal defense for an eviction, for a tenant being evicted, but that's what I hear. The stories are breathtaking. I mean, I'm talking to a woman who's on disability herself, who's in danger of being evicted for missing 2 months rent, and she sees a way to get back on that path, but she right now she can't figure out how to make up the 2 months rent that she's being evicted for. And in the meantime, she's taking care of disabled elderly patients who are in their parents who are in their 70s and 80s. It's heartbreaking. I don't know what to do. There was an area church there in Fayetteville that gave me a sum of money to allow me to help negotiate with 25 landlords in Washington County on behalf of Marshallese families. And we were able to keep every one of those from an eviction at that time because they gave me funds to help negotiate with landlords who would agree to waive fees, late fees and penalties and things like that. I would just tell you that it's an onslaught is coming, and I just would share the comments that others have made. If there is a way, and I say this sincerely to you, if there is a way to help these people, please figure out a way to do it. This is not something they've ever experienced in their lives. This woman told me she's been a renter for 25 years and has never faced an eviction action in her life. I don't know if there's a way for you, but if there is, please try to explore that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Comstock. Citizen comments. Citizen comments.
Allie Brown.
Allie Brown, you recognized.
Thank you, Judge Wood. Thank you, Quorum Court. I'm calling to piggyback on the previous comments to request designation of a portion of the $4.5 million to be committed to rental mortgage relief. Washington County was one of the first counties to stop taking applications from past program rent assistance because it was going to run out of money statewide. Washington County has the second most evictions of Arkansas counties. And I want to relate it back to something that's in our recent Washington County criminal justice assessment. When law enforcement agencies asked about laws or standard operating procedures that impact their ability to do their jobs, one of the things that was noted was the nuisance complaints that are most often people who need services and not law enforcement. And it says explicitly in that report that homelessness contributes to many of the nuisance crimes, such as littering, public intox, disorderly conduct, disturbing the peace, loitering. And I just want to encourage the court to think about the unintended consequences by not being proactive and not passing the money to be a stabilizing act in our area. And just to think about the interconnectedness to how it's going to affect different entities within our municipality, and to honestly just to do the right thing and to help people in these unprecedented times. And that's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Allie Brown. Citizen comments. Citizen comments.
Sherry Main. About 2 minutes left.
Sherry Main, you have about 2 minutes.
Yes, Sherry Main, 15574 Riches Road, Fayetteville, and I'll be quick and brief. The extra stimulus bill, I've been reading on that. And it did pass. The law on it is, I don't know, over 700 pages, and I haven't read through them yet. But from this, what I gather is there's going to be additional monies coming in for assistance for a $600 refund or rebate to each individual, $600 for each additional child, and renter's credit, and credit for the schools, or credit for theaters. This is like almost a $1 trillion boost to the economy. It's going to be coming in. But what I feel is going to be a little bit too late. People are already suffering. Like, I'll echo the thoughts of everyone else, that, you know, the money is available, the money is there. More money will be coming because this is not ending anytime soon. So I think what you need to consider as a whole quorum court is to think of the people who cannot put food on their table, cannot feed their children, don't know tomorrow if they're going to have a roof over their head. These people are really hurting. The children are getting fed because the schools are sending food home to feed the children. Let's get real. I mean, this is a hurting situation everyone is in. And I just think that you need to please consider freeing up some of the CARES money. You have another year to spend it if you haven't already spent it. The end of the year has been extended for another year. So I think that's something that you need to greatly consider. And I just echo again what everyone said. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Sherry Main.
That's fine.
Okay, that leads us on to item 6. Council, will you read that ordinance by title only?
An ordinance to establish the Washington County annual budget and budget controls for the calendar year 2021.
JP Ann Harbison.
We have the budget here to vote on tonight. All of our elected officials came in under what they had for last year, except for 3, and that was Russell Hill, the Sheriff's Department, and of course our coroner. So I move that we pass this budget. It's almost identical to the 2020 budget, and it needs to be passed so that we can move on. I know people have concerns, but most of those people will be on the court this next session, and they can continue with those concerns at that time. I move that we pass this, and I hope everybody votes for it. Thank you.
We have a motion to pass ordinance number 6, item number 6, a second by JP Pond. Any discussion?
JP Hires.
JP Suki Hires.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to say that my no vote last week, I think this is important, was not about obstruction or playing politics, as was insinuated in an email that I think we all received. My no vote was because I was not allowed to see the final budget. We were not allowed to ask questions of department heads in a public meeting. And I think both of those things are necessary to make a informed vote. So I'm glad that those things have been made available now, or at least the budget. I want to say this, I very much dislike the budget process this year. Last year, we were able to meet with department heads. We were able to go over those line items. We were able to ask questions. This year, we were thrown percentages, and I felt we were locked out of information, and it's already hard enough with some of us at home and some people in the court. It already feels like there's a disconnect. So I'm hoping that next year we can make this budget process a little bit more streamlined and a little bit more informative, not just for the JPs who are expected to vote on it, but also for the public who it's their tax dollars that we are spending. Thank you.
Thank you, JP Hires. Discussion. Any other discussion? JP Pond.
Yes, thank you, Judge Wood. I just wanted to say that I have hopes that by next year maybe sometime in November, that, there'll be enough of these vaccinations and that sort of thing, where more of the JPs will feel safer about coming to the courthouse, maybe put on their mask and come around to the different departments, public officials, and receive more of the information they've kept asking for. Also, it might be that they could get a little bit better view of what goes on. This has been a difficult year for everyone. None of us are immune to this pandemic, and I fully understand that we take chances when we come in and go out. Also, I'd just like to encourage you, when you're within 6 feet of other people, put on your mask. But I really believe that the elected officials, the department heads, and the county has done an excellent job with as best they could under the circumstances. And I'm just going to tell you one more time, I really appreciate what you've done, and it was not all without some casualties. We've had employees that have contracted the illness. Hopefully, we're going to get past that, and we'll have a more tolerable process coming here. I'll tell you again, Judge and the other department and the other elected officials sitting here in the room, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, JP Pond. JP Eva Madison, you recognized?
Thank you, Judge. Just to follow up on what JP Pond said, current CDC guidance says that anyone inside should be wearing a mask even if they're 6 feet apart. So think about that in terms of how the county's conducting business. That's what I'm not making that up. That's what the CDC is currently saying, that if you're inside, not within your household, you should be wearing a mask even if you're not 6 feet apart, or even if you are 6 feet apart. Those are reasons why 88 county employees were recently in quarantine. 88 county employees. The second issue is that, also to follow up on what JP Pond said, as elected officials, we should be able to ask our questions in public. We shouldn't have to go during the day, visit elected official by elected official to have the exchange of information occur in private. We are elected to do the public's work, and that work should happen in public, not on the 5th floor, not on the 2nd floor of the courthouse. It should be in these meetings. My third question relates to the status of the amendments that we discussed last week. I don't know if we're considering those amendments who have been merged into the budget, because when I look, for instance, at the Elkins District Court, I do not see that the additional money we passed for that court is showing up in the budget that's online. So I would like some clarification for the status of amendments, so that we understand that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, JP Madison. Any other discussion?
Brian Lester explained those objects have been put into the budget, and they should be reflected in the total budget that's online. Now, I don't know whether they are or not, but they should be. Thank you.
Any other discussion? I can't see anybody.
Nobody, no. Public comment.
All right, public comments? Public comments? All right, Ms. Patty, will you take the roll?
Lance Johnson,
Yes.
Susan Cunningham,
Yes.
Derek Thomas,
Yes.
Judith Yanez,
No.
Patrick Deacons,
Yes.
Lisa Ecke,
Yes.
Sam Duncan,
Yes.
Shonda Washington, Shonda Washington,
I don't think her.
Yeah, she say no.
She said no.
okay, no. Eva Madison,
No.
Andrea Jenkins,
No.
Suki Hires,
No.
Sue Madison,
You didn't. No.
Willie Lemming,
No.
Ann Harbison,
Yes.
Butch Pond.
Yes.
Get to 7.
8, 4, and 7 against.
So that does not.
Unless there's a motion to suspend.
JP, that does not pass unless there's a motion to suspend the rules.
I make a motion that we suspend the rules and read this on its second reading.
Second. There's a motion on the floor to suspend the rules. There's a motion on the floor to suspend the rules, a second by,
Duncan.
was that JP Pine?
No, Duncan.
Sam Duncan. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
No.
All right, so that goes to the second read. Council, will you read that one on the second?
Ask for a roll call, please.
Ms. Patty, will you take the roll?
Lance Johnson, Lance Johnson,
Yes.
Susan Cunningham,
Yes.
Derek Thomas,
Yes.
Judith Yanez,
No.
Patrick Deacons,
Yes.
Lisa Ecke,
Yes.
Sam Duncan,
Yes.
Shonda Washington,
No.
Eva Madison,
No.
Andrea Jenkins,
No.
Suki Hires,
No.
Sue Madison,
No.
Willie Lemming,
Yes.
Ann Harbison,
Yes.
Butch Pond.
Yes.
That fails. So we'll go to a second reading at the next meeting.
May I make a comment?
What was that? What was those numbers, Patty?
9, 4, and 6 against.
That does.
May I make a comment?
That's 18.
Oh.
Judge Wood,
Go ahead, JP Harbison.
we need one more vote. We need 10 votes, or we have to come back and cost the county another $10,000 to meet tomorrow's some other time. You can vote against the budget, but please vote to do our readings tonight so that we can pass this budget. Thank you. Is there anyone willing to reconsider? Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Judge
JP
Mammy.
Harbison. JP Lemming.
Oh, that's Sam Duncan who wants to make a comment.
Oh, JP Duncan.
can I invite the members of the court who are voting against the budget to at least make a proposal as to what you'd like to see changed? Right now, we continue to vote on the same budget and hear no's, and then hear no proposal as to how the budget should look differently. So I'd love to hear some constructive dialogue, go back and forth on how we're going to change this budget. I'm not super pleased with how it turned out either, for a number of reasons. How the raises worked out, the cash infusion that's going to the jail, several other reasons. But help us out here. We got to pass this budget before the end of the year. Someone at least bring, hey, here's my issues with it. Here's the 3 things I need to see change for me to vote for this budget. And then we can discuss it. But right now, I have no idea why people are voting against it. And no one's brought a solution. So somebody step up and bring a solution that's voting no.
JP Duncan, JP Yanez.
I actually think for once we have a solution on this court, that we're not passing something to have a discussion. And I'm very grateful for the JPs that have a backbone to say no, because we can maybe talk about having a solution. My issue is with the road department budget and how that went down. I don't know what happened. I still don't have questions. And I feel like an independent investigation has to be conducted of what happened there. We can't just say, hey, for the fun of it, let's go build a dam and let's cost the county money without a permit, and then have the same department head, the same supervisor conduct an investigation with the county attorney who's there to protect the county. I get that. I'm not going to play politics here. This is our procedures for me. So for me, one solution is let's pass the county budget, only the salary line items, and any other item needs to be approved by the quorum court going forward. I would recommend an independent investigation of what actually happened there. This is nothing to do with the county official. This has nothing to do with the elected official. This is all procedural. We need to know that the money we allocate is being spent correctly, and it's being spent legally, because we can't just have people out there saying we want to do this just for the heck of it without any explanation, and we're just giving them money to go play around with our money. So that's my solution. If we can look at the county road department, that's where my issue lies. I mean, there's a lot more issues, but ethically, that's where I'm going no, because ethically, I don't feel that's correct the way we handle that budget.
Thank you, JP Yanez. JP Johnson, and then JP Eva Madison.
Yeah, thank you, Judge. I agree that I don't like the way anything was handled with the road department. But Judge, you told us you did an investigation. You told us you found no evidence of wrongdoing. I think we can talk about that forever if we want to. But we need to talk about how we're getting from where we are to where we're going, not how we got from where we were to where we are. And I think the question that the new court has to answer is, do we need to be in the red dirt business? I mean, we need to analyze that and make a decision whether we need to keep that mine open or whether we need to hydroseed it and turn it back to the owner. Thank you.
JP Johnson, JP Eva Madison.
I guess I'm really surprised that there's any doubt as to why some of us are voting no. Many of us started attending our first budget meeting thinking that we would be able to ask questions on the budget, why a new position was added, why a line item went up, only to be told that an ordinance had been developed behind the scenes and already had 8 co-sponsors with an attempt to deny us any opportunity to ask questions. And that's exactly what happened. We debated an ordinance about percentages for 3 meetings, which effectively resulted in the denial of any questions, any information presentation on multiple budgets. We were not able to ask about new capital expenditures. We were not able to ask about new positions, nothing. So if you want to start with why we're voting no, it's because there's been a complete and utter lack of information, which I think that also has resulted in a serious lack of trust. The trust issues, as JP Yanez has at least hinted, are also with the road department. It's hard to trust the elected official who was in charge of the investigation to say that true, but we deserve to hear that from a neutral outside party, not from the person who is in charge of the very department that was alleged to have done wrongdoing. So, I mean, there's no fixing it at this point because it's December 21st and we met multiple times. Each meeting does not cost $10,000. And we were every single time denied the right to ask questions. The only people who got questions was the sheriff's office. The only budget. And then and the raises, the employees and the sheriff's office were the only budgets that got any scrutiny at all. Road department failed 4 votes. One time it didn't even get a second. We had no further discussion and all these people, 8 people are voting for it. So if you want to know why people are voting no, it's because we don't know anything about this budget. We can look at it, but we can't ask questions. We can't say, why do you need a new position? Why do you need a new car? The budget's gone up and we've not been fiscally responsible at all in dealing with it. So I move we adjourn because that's the next thing on our agenda.
Second.
Motion to adjourn in a second.
There's a motion to adjourn in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
All right. Ms. Patty, will you take the roll?
Lance Johnson,
No.
Susan Cunningham, Susan Cunningham,
No.
Derek Thomas,
No.
Judith Yanez,
Yes.
Patrick Dickens,
No.
Lisa Ecke,
No.
Sam Duncan,
No.
Chandra Washington,
Yes.
Eva Madison,
Yes.
Andrea Jenkins,
Yes.
Suki Hires,
Yes.
Sue Madison,
Yes.
Willie Lemming,
No.
Ann Harbison,
No.
Butch Pond.
No.
Those.
Can I ask a
What's the count, Ms. Patty?
6 for and 9 against. What fails?
9
for, 9 against.
And so we need,
You'd have to have a majority to adjourn.
and we don't. So the discussion continues until we have.
parliamentary inquiry, when we've reached
JP Madison?
of our agenda, what it's supposed to do.
Well, we still have discussion going. JP Johnson and then JP Harbison.
Yeah, thank you, Judge. I want to say that I agree. I sat here a year ago and said, surely next year we can do this better than we did last year, and we proved we haven't been able to do that. But I think we're missing the elephant in the room, folks. The sheriff's budget is $2.3 million over revenue. And yes, we got to ask the sheriff answers as I did the year before. We got to ask him questions, but we didn't get the answers. We didn't get any answers. Thank you.
JP Harbison.
We're sort of at an impasse, and I really don't want to say anything that would really hack some people off, but we need to go on and pass this budget tonight, and we need one more person to change their mind. We need one person, that's all, so we can vote on it. That person can vote against the budget if they want to vote against the budget, but give us the opportunity to put it on second reading and third reading so that we don't have to come back. Now, if we do this, that means we either meet tomorrow night and the next night, or it's been suggested we could adjourn and meet in 2 hours. I don't know. That's a Brian Lester question. If there's not anyone willing to allow the majority of the people to vote for the budget, you know, do we have someone that would change their mind?
Thank you, JP Harbison. And again, I would concur. Clearly, I don't want to call another special meeting or even postpone doing the budget next year with a new court. This is your court, your budget. And I would again encourage you guys to pass a budget tonight for those employees. The information that, again, you guys have asked for, you've had, has been correlated. You asked Thursday, can you guys see it all? And we put all that together for tonight for you to pass a budget. With that, JP Yanez.
My consideration, I think we just need something neutral. I'm not changing my vote, and I don't think many of us are going to change our votes. So I wonder if there's like a neutral party that can help us with this budget discussion, because I don't think we're going to go anywhere with this. Just a suggestion there.
JP Eki.
Thank you, JP Yanez. JP Eki.
Thank you, Judge. Changes in this budget process did not divest any JP from our obligation to go through the budget line by line. That was our responsibility. We had it, we could look through it. If we had, we were encouraged to bring our questions to the meeting if we had any comments or questions or concerns. To say we were not given the opportunity to ask any questions, I disagree with that. Several years ago, the Quorum Court had a policy that if any department or elected official did not have any budget increases, they would not be required to come before the Quorum Court and give any answers or go through the hot seat, is what was called at that time. And at that time, I do believe Justice Eva Madison was the chairman who wrote those.
This is out of line. Don't call out fellow JPs and disagree with them.
JP Eki, just direct that to me.
Judge, at that time, the chairman was Justice Eva Madison, who wrote those policies and procedures.
They object. This is improper under Robert's Rules of Order.
No, that's not for her to say. She needs to be
call out fellow
You have always been given the opportunity
JP
to
Eki, direct your conversation to me.
She's not directing it to anyone but you.
But certainly,
maybe if we had a parliamentarian.
Are you finished, JP Eki?
No. Secondly, Judge, that was the first point. Secondly, did anybody get on the phone and call any of the elected officials or directors with the questions that they had? If they had questions, they could have called if they didn't want to come down to the courthouse, or they could have communicated via email. Those are different methods of communication that we have available to all of us in this COVID environment. Now, to say and accuse the court and our chairman, Justice Harbison, that we denied anybody the opportunity to ask or to communicate with others is just not so. And I want that record to be clear. There was opportunity. It was our responsibility to go through line by line and write down the questions we had in order to save time and money and meeting excessively. That was the whole objective, was to save the county money and to be prepared for the meetings. Thirdly and final point, I do believe, Judge, that Justice Duncan asked if anybody had any solutions to this budget. And it's all we've heard are complaints, not solutions, except for Justice Johnson, who said, we need to look at the sheriff's budget because it was way out of line. Now, not to road fine and not to pass the budget because of what's going on. One issue at the roads department, the Winslow dirt pit should not determine whether or not the roads department budget and the full budget is passed. We were given an explanation, whether you accept it or not, that is your issue. But it was above board, and to bring in a third party is to circumvent the voice of the county who elected our county judge as the CEO. All of this third-party negotiations and brokering is going against the authority and the voice of those that elected us and the other officials to be the voice and to be the vote. If you have a solution, please offer it. A constructive solution to the budget. That was what I do believe your request was, Justice Duncan. Thank you, Judge. I am finished.
Thank you, J.P. Eki. J.P. Harbison, then J.P. Jenkins, and then J.P. Pond.
Judge, I really don't think, Judge Wood, I really don't think that we can reach agreement with the people that disagree with the budget. But I would encourage you to go on and call the 2 extra meetings so we can pass the budget for this year. I really don't think it's fair, since we have 6 new justices coming in next year, to throw this thing at them in January. I think we need to pass the budget. This year, we have a majority. We don't have the supermajority. But, you know, I really don't think that further discussion tonight will be fruitful at all. Thank you.
Thank you, J.P. Harbison. J.P. Jenkins, then Pond.
Judge, I just wanted to say I'm in agreement with everything, and the reason why I'm voting no, you could just replay what Eva Madison said, and basically that's it. But I also wanted to mention that in this special session, if we were wanting to help change others' minds, it might be beneficial to not attack one another.
Oh
and
my God.
I've seen that happen twice now in the last 2 meetings. So I'm really just kind of over that, and I really wish that there would be some sort of decorum. That's all I had to say.
Thank you, J.P. Jenkins. J.P. Pond.
Yes, thank you.
We weren't going to laugh at each other.
I thought maybe I'm mistaken about this. At our last meeting, did we not have people that voted no to pass the budget because they wanted the numbers, that the way it would come out after the amendments we had made since back in September? I got to ask, did you come up with those? Was that not the numbers that you came up with that we were able to see online? I'm just trying to get specific about this particular thing. I'm asking Judge Wood.
One more time, did we come up with the numbers?
Did we come up with all the numbers that were requested that were changed because of the amendments that had been made?
That's correct.
Did we?
That's what the request was.
That's what the request was at the last meeting.
That's correct.
And those numbers, was that the correct numbers that we came up with, we were able to see online before tonight's meeting?
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because that's why we didn't pass it last time. But those numbers are there now, and we're still not going to pass it. I just wanted to make sure that
that was clear. And I'm being very careful about this because there are people on this court that have called me a liar, a coward, and everything else, talking about throwing out insults. It's all right. I'm still the same guy, and I've been called worse. Thank you.
Thank you, JP Pond. JP Sue Madison.
Thank you, Mr. Judge. I just have a few comments to make. My problem still lies with the way the road department issue has been handled. And the suggestion that it was our responsibility to go down to the road department or seek out employees and try to have those questions answered is not really the appropriate way for an elected body to resolve issues like that. It's more important that the public have answers to these questions, not just me. And the fact that some people's questions were answered in writing removes the opportunity for people to think of additional questions once they've had some questions answered. That's what it means to work in the public eye. The Quorum Court does its work in the public's eye. The public has a right to know these things, and we have just somehow missed that issue and that responsibility. And to me, that is very critical. I mean, the fact that one or two people have had some questions answered is not the whole picture. That was never done, and I'm still dissatisfied with the way that's been handled. Transparency is a huge issue when you're dealing with public dollars and public results. Thank you, Mr. Judge.
Thank you, JP Madison. JP Yanez, and then JP Duncan, and then JP Hires.
Thank you, Judge. I think I say this with a lot of grace. I'm probably one person on here that has not played political parties or anything. I always stay true to doing everything as much as I can with integrity and not calling anyone else. It's just the way I am. So when I say this, and I'm not calling out the judge, I'm not calling out a political party, I'm just saying I hold leadership to a high accountability. So if Judith Yanez, is questioning the way the procedures were handled, there's something wrong here, okay? And it's not a party or Judge Wood. I mean, that's not what I'm saying. There's an issue with the procedures. And so here is my resolution. You want to change my vote to yes? Let's eliminate the road department out of the budget and pass a budget without the road department. The other thing is let's have a conversation about how to appropriate care funds. We have an issue in our community. I'm in the front lines every day with people that have no rental assistance. Monies are gone. And when we're going to be talking about a criminal justice system, psychologically, the effects of children losing homes, no food, of what that's going to have on our systems in the long run is detrimental. So can we also have a conversation of appropriating care funds for rental assistance for our Washington County residents? Those are my two things that will change my vote to yes. Other than that, it's still a no. Thank you.
Thank you, JP Yanez, JP Duncan, and then JP Hires.
Move that we adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion to adjourn, a second. Ms. Patty, let's go ahead and do the roll.
Lance Johnson. Lance Johnson. Susan Cunningham.
Yeah.
Derek Thomas.
No.
Lance Johnson.
I'm muted.
Now you know what it's like.
I am muted.
We can hear you.
Not. We can hear you.
Say yes or no now.
What's your vote?
Adjourn or not?
To adjourn. Are you wanting to vote to adjourn or not?
There's a motion on the floor to adjourn.
Okay, yes.
Judith Yanez.
Yes.
Patrick Deacon.
No.
Lisa Ecke,
No.
Sam Duncan,
Yes.
Willie?
Chandra Washington,
Willie? No.
Chandra Washington,
Yes.
Eva Madison,
Yes.
Andrea Jenkins,
Yes, please.
Suki Hires,
Yes.
Sue Madison,
Yes.
Willie Lemming,
You already said no. No.
You said no.
Ann Harbison,
No.
Butch Pond.
Yes.
We have 10 for and 5 against.
Motion passes. We're adjourned.
The motion passes. Meeting adjourned.
I support Washington County employees, and they need to know they have a job January 1st. Thank you.
I'm so confused here. So we were asked for solutions, and someone came with the solution, and then we rejected the solution, and then we come back to the body and say, oh guys, change your vote.